Hi everybody, it's Caitlin. This is my comic reflection. So when I started thinking about what I wanted to do for my comic, I actually thought of this page in our McCloud book, the one with the stick figure face. And since I am terrible at art, I started thinking, okay, how can I use this? So the whole point of this was supposed to be, the caption says, "But when you enter the world of the cartoon, you see yourself." So as an excuse to not draw more detailed art because I'm unable to do that, and because I wanted my reader to be able to get into my story, I chose to go with really simple artwork. So I started thinking about what kind of situation I would want my reader to put themselves in, and the first thing I thought of was actually my dad. My dad's a police officer, and he's a police officer in a really small city, so last year, even 2 years ago now, when all of these shootings and riots and things started happening, kind of assumed that these things weren't going to reach him because nothing ever happens in the city that he works in. But what I've been really surprised to find is the backlash in our city, even though the police do seem to have a really good relationship with the public. My dad works as a DARE officer, and he's in the schools, and he's even had parents telling their kids not to trust what he's saying and things like that, so it's really sad. So I wanted to create a comic that would put my reader into the daily life of a police officer. So you could call the genre social critique, maybe Heroes. It is a police officer. But so anyways, I titled it Public Servant. And again, please excuse the horrible artwork. I kept my pictures really simple. I wanted them to be stick figures. I didn't want them to have defining features. I didn't want to fit any big stereotypes about police officers. I just wanted them to be simple figures who were just performing their job like anybody else. So it starts off with an officer, and we see him going into the precinct, getting his assignment for the day, and then he leaves in his car. And you can kind of see the rioters in the distance. And then we see him up close here, and they're holding picketing signs, and it says, "Criminals in uniform and protect us from police." And we don't see our officer get bothered by or anything. They're just doing their job. They get a call in on the radio, and they respond to the scene of a domestic dispute. Another officer is already there arresting an adult, and the officer that my story focuses on, Officer Gates, is sent inside because they think there's a kid in there. And he finds the kid, and he gets down on the ground and is talking to her, and then is taking her down to the police station and has her in the car. And again, we see the picketers in the background, but it's not affecting his daily job. He's just ignoring it. And then it cuts to later in the day. The officer gets home. We see his kids run to him. And then he's going to work again the next day. And he gets called into his boss's office. And the boss explains to him that the public voted against the officers and turned down a tax levy, and that they were having to make budget cuts, and that the officer was getting fired. So we see him leave, and he's really sad. And I ended with a scene of the picketers. And one of them says that their purse was stolen, and somebody yells, "Call 911." And they call, and the person says, "Operator, I need to report a robbery. We need help fast. He's getting away." And the operator answers with, "I'm sorry, but we're short-staffed. I'll have an officer there as soon as possible." So obviously trying to make a statement about the fact that I think that a lot of people, they only focus on police when they're doing something bad, obviously, and not always. I don't think everybody appreciates the day-to-day. So I thought that the comic genre worked perfectly for this because I could create these simple images. I didn't have to go into big detail about what was going on in this officer's head. I could just show them performing their job, the public looking down on them until, of course, they need them. So I think that's about it. I hope you liked it. Sorry for the bad art. Thanks.